Hello dear students, welcome to the online class for the students of BA Part 1st English Literature. In this video we are going to study the poem On His Blindness composed by John Milton. The text of this poem is on your screen and the opening line of the poem is, "When I consider how my light is spent ere half my days in this dark world and wide, and that one talent which is death to hide, lodge with me useless, though my soul more bent to serve there with my Maker, and present my true account." In this poem, the poet, as I have told you, that in this poem, the poet is rejuvenating his faith in God, and Milton went totally blind in 1952 at the age of 44. Here, the word light in line number 1, light here means eyesight, and light is spent means this clause presents a double meaning. First is how I spend my days. Light is spent means how I spend my days, and the second meaning of this phrase is how it is that his eyesight is used up. Ere half my days means before half of the poet's life is over. Milton was completely blind by 1652, the year he turned 44. Dark word and wide means since Milton has lost his eyesight, so the world is now full of darkness for him. Talent, notice students, you should notice that in line number 3, talent, the word talent is here used, and the talent is written in capital T. Talent here means poetic talent. Useless means unused. Due to his blindness, Milton cannot use the poetic talent. Therewith means by that means or by that talent. Maker, the letter of the word maker is capital M, and maker here is used for God. So in these lines, line number 1 to 8, the poet is rather impatient, and he is quite pessimistic. He feels that the poetic talent which God has bestowed upon him is now useless, and he wants to serve God by writing, but due to his blindness he is unable to do so. Milton gets rather impatient at the thought of his blindness. He says in line number 1, "When I consider how my light is spent," means when he thinks about his blindness, and ere half my days means before completing his half of his age, the world became dark and blind for him, and that one talent means that poetic talent which is death to hide, lodged with me useless. And he is saying that blindness prevent him from using his poetic talent by writing something great to glorify God. He has a keen desire to serve God by using his poetic talent, because he knows that God wants man to use his God-given power, or he may be punished. He is saying, though my soul more bent to serve there with my Maker. He is saying that my soul is more considerate towards the God and present my true account. And he is saying that I am very eager and I am very in impatient mood to serve to God. But here Milton doubts if God would be just in demanding work from a blind man like him, and that's why he is using the words my true account, lest he returning chide. He here means the God. He is saying that there would be a situation when God would chide him, God would provoke him. Does God exact day labor light denied? Here the poet wants to say that God is rebuking him, and he is asking, does God exact day labor? Exact means demand. He is asking to a question to himself, and he is saying, does God wants me, does God demands me day labor, and God denied me of light, means my eyesight is gone. In this situation, does God is so cruel that he demands me labor that he demand me poetic talent, I fondly ask. So this is the paraphrase of line number 1 to 8, in which the poet is rather impatient at the thought of his blindness, and he is asking himself a question. This sonnet is quite very personal, and that's why the poet is asking a question, that does God demand me labor while my eyesight is gone? He wants to present his true account, but his blindness curbs on his efforts. The poet feels that now, due to his blindness, this talent has become useless, although he admits that his soul has more dedicated to God and ready to serve quite faithfully. So the lines are perfect in their lyrical quality here, and here the poet compares his soul to his mind, talent to his poetic talent. The next part of the poem, that is called sustain, means the last 6 lines of the poem start with the lines, that murmur soon replies, God does not need either man's work or his own gifts, who best bear his mild yoke, they serve him best. His state is kingly, thousands at his bidding speed, and post over land and ocean without rest. They also serve who only stand and wait. Here, fondly means foolishly or unwisely. Patience means Milton personifies patience, capitalizing it and having it speak. God does not need either man's work or his own gifts, means God is sufficient unto himself. He requires nothing outside of himself to exist and be happy. Yoke means burden or workload. Post means travel. Here, Milton's attitude of doubt passes off in a moment. His inner conscience rises up with its faith in God's justice, and his inner faith speaks the answer that God does not need either man's work or his own gift. He realizes that God does not need man's work by way of service to him, nor does he care whether man uses his gifts. He is the King of Kings. And in these sustain part of in this sustain part, the poet is saying that who best bear his mild yoke, means the person who best bear or capable to attend the mild burden of the poet, they serve him best, means they are the best server to God, who silently bear the mild burden, mild workload of God. His state is kingly, means he is here referred to the God. The poet is saying that he is a king of kings, his dominion is over the universe, and he has thousands of angels doing thousands at his bidding speed, and post means travel over land and ocean without rest. The God is so majestic, the God is so omnipotent, that he has thousands of angels doing his bidding at all times, flying over land and sea. He has thousands of others who stand by his throne and sing his praise. The latter two are as good as beloved as the active angels. So, patient submission to His will is the best service to Him, and that's why He is writing the last line of the poem and in concluding line of the poem, that they also serve who only stand and wait. This means that patient submission to God's will is the best service to Him. Even after losing his eyesight completely, the poet is so hopeful to present his true account for God. And in these sustain lines, he is saying that God is like a king of kings, and thousands of angels serve him day and night over earth and sea. Service to God consists not only in active work but also in patient resignation to his will and dispensation. Milton thinks that he should also serve as the angels who only stand and wait for their turn. The poet feels very satisfied with this idea, and the central lesson of this poem is that man must actively perform his duties. Whatever the work God assigns, one must devote himself completely to the wish of God and complete those duties without making any complaint. Though blind when he composed his greatest poetry, John Milton could think. Over a period of 4 to 5 years, he dictated to one or another of his daughters the epic poem Paradise Lost. Milton refers to his genius and virtuosity as mere talent. So, in the sonnet's octave part, the poet misinterprets the biblical parable and curiously argues that God should not expect the labor of an ordinary man from one who is blind. The pivotal volta meaning emerges with the final word prevent. Patience intervenes with prevenient grace. It is thus providence that foretells the rebellious complaint before it can be uttered. So, in this poem, the poet is showing us his firm faith in God. And as I have told you that this sonnet is Petrarchan sonnet, and this sonnet has the rhyme scheme of ABBA, ABBA, CDE and CDE. Whereas we talk about the theme of this poem is based on the theme that God judges human whether they labor for him to the best of their ability. The poet is sure that God rewards the faithful services even if one is not ready to do that. So that's all about this poem, students. Thank you all.